Have you ever wondered what causes the ground beneath us to shake suddenly? It's not magic, but a phenomenon we know as earthquakes. These natural occurrences are primarily the result of the movement of tectonic plates. Imagine these plates as giant puzzle pieces that make up the Earth's crust, floating on a semi-fluid layer called the asthenosphere. Now, picture these pieces colliding, moving apart, or sliding past each other. This movement is what triggers an earthquake. But tectonic activity isn't the only catalyst. Volcanic eruptions, with their intense pressure and heat, can also provoke the Earth's crust into shaking. And it might surprise you to know that even human activities, such as mining or the filling of reservoirs, can induce seismicity. So, the shaking ground you feel during an earthquake is a result of the sudden release of energy in the Earth's crust. It's a powerful reminder that the Earth beneath us is constantly changing and moving. Now that we know what causes earthquakes, let's delve into how this energy travels. When an earthquake occurs, the energy released travels in the form of seismic waves. These waves are divided into two main categories: body waves and surface waves. Body waves, which travel through the Earth's interior, consist of P waves and S waves. P waves, or primary waves, are compressional waves that move the fastest, shaking the ground back and forth in the same direction and the opposite direction of the wave. Following closely behind are the S waves, or secondary waves. These are shear waves that shake the ground up and down and side to side, perpendicular to the direction the wave is moving. Then we have surface waves. These waves travel along the Earth's surface, shaking the ground in elliptical motions and causing the most destruction. Despite being the slowest, surface waves are the main culprits behind the damage we see during earthquakes due to their larger amplitude and longer duration. Surface waves, despite being the slowest, cause the most damage due to their larger amplitude and longer duration. How do we measure the power of an earthquake and its effects? This question leads us to the fascinating world of seismology, the study of earthquakes and seismic waves. The primary tool used by seismologists to measure earthquakes is the seismograph. This ingenious device records the amplitude and frequency of seismic waves, creating a visual record known as a seismogram. By analyzing these seismograms, scientists can calculate the strength and duration of an earthquake. But when we talk about the strength of an earthquake, we're actually referring to two distinct aspects: magnitude and intensity. The magnitude represents the total amount of energy released by the earthquake. It's a numerical value that remains constant no matter where the earthquake is observed from. The most commonly used scales to measure magnitude are the Richter scale and the moment magnitude scale. On the other hand, the intensity of an earthquake describes its effects on the Earth's surface, people, and structures. This varies depending on the location's distance from the earthquake's epicenter, the local building codes, and the type of ground material. The modified Mercalli intensity scale is often used to measure this aspect, providing a qualitative assessment of the earthquake's effects from not felt to total destruction. These measurements help us understand the power of an earthquake and its potential impact. By studying and interpreting these values, we can better prepare for future seismic events and mitigate their potential damage. So, what happens when an earthquake strikes? This is a question that has been asked countless times, and the answer is as varied as the earthquakes themselves. The immediate effects of an earthquake can be felt in the ground shaking beneath our feet. This shaking can cause buildings to collapse, bridges to fail, and roads to crack and crumble. But the shaking is just the beginning. If the epicenter of the earthquake is located underwater, the energy released can trigger a tsunami. These gigantic waves can crash onto shorelines, causing even more destruction and loss of life. And then there's the issue of ground liquefaction, a phenomenon where saturated soil temporarily loses its strength and behaves like a liquid. This can lead to buildings sinking or tilting, causing further damage to already fragile infrastructure. But the impact of an earthquake doesn't end when the ground stops shaking. The aftermath can have long-lasting socioeconomic effects on affected communities. Businesses may be destroyed, leaving people without jobs. Children's education can be disrupted if schools are damaged. And the cost of rebuilding can plunge communities into debt, further exacerbating their vulnerability. The aftermath of an earthquake is not just about physical destruction. It's about the human lives affected, the communities disrupted, and the resilience needed to rebuild and recover. And while we cannot prevent earthquakes from occurring, understanding these impacts is a crucial step towards better preparedness and response. The aftermath of an earthquake can range from minor disturbances to devastating disasters. Knowing what we do about earthquakes, how can we prepare for them? Let's start with the basics. The foundation of earthquake preparedness lies in building codes. These codes are designed to ensure that structures are resilient against the forces that earthquakes bring. From skyscrapers to residential homes, the right materials and construction techniques can make all the difference when the earth starts to shake. Moving on, we have emergency response plans. These involve coordinated efforts from various sectors such as the government, emergency services, and the community. It's all about knowing what to do when an earthquake strikes, who to call, where to go, how to stay safe. These plans are often rehearsed through drills, ensuring everyone knows their role when the real thing happens. But perhaps the most powerful tool in our arsenal is public education. Understanding earthquakes and their potential impact is key. Knowing how to drop cover and hold on, or how to identify safe spots in a building can save lives. Moreover, being aware of the risks associated with living near fault lines or in high-rise buildings can help individuals make informed decisions about where they choose to live. Lastly, we have early warning systems. These systems detect the first, less destructive waves of an earthquake, the P waves, allowing for crucial seconds to minutes of warning before the more damaging waves arrive. These crucial moments can allow people and systems to take protective actions, like stopping trains, halting surgeries, or simply giving people time to take cover. But remember, preparation doesn't end with knowing what to do. It's about being proactive, securing heavy items in your home, creating an emergency supplies kit, and having a family emergency plan. It's about staying informed, staying vigilant, and most importantly, staying safe. Being prepared for earthquakes can drastically reduce their damaging effects and save lives. After all, when it comes to earthquakes, it's not just about weathering the storm but also about building a world resilient to it.